how does pot legalization fare under a Jeff Sessions attorney generaldom?
May I jump in?
Please.
It is a huge step back and just a terrible thing for the United States. He was an awful attorney general pick. He's in favor of civil asset forfeiture, where if police suspect your car has been used in a drug operation, they can just seize it without a trial. They can just take your stuff. And on top of that, he wants to outlaw marijuana. There's this weird reversal right now where Republicans are usually for states' rights and Democrats like national solutions, and now it's flipping in the drug arena because we have a guy that's a very big unreformed drug warrior from the 70s who wants to use the national government to crack down on California and Oregon and these states that have rightly legalized marijuana. It's not a good thing. And even if there's some kind of standstill between the states that have legalized it, and it's a huge amount now in this last election, versus the federal government, if you're trying to open up a business or anything like that, it becomes incredibly complicated. Because let's say you just want a dispensary, and I think there's nothing wrong with recreational pot, but I want to make this like a really nice guy who's only doing it for medical purposes. You can't get a loan from a bank out of state because that could be seized by the federal government at any time. You're in violation of federal law. Now, during Obama, he basically said, we're going to just respect the state's positions. But Sessions coming in, that's going to stop now. So it's a step back for America.
You know, I thought one of the things that was, here's a quote from Sessions that I think is just kind of funny. He said, I think one of Obama's great failures is his lax treatment in comments on marijuana. That was one of his great failures. But I think what's interesting about Sessions is that he sort of came to his political maturity, or he sort of came into political life after Nixon had already declared a war on drugs. So he's kind of been in that mindset for a really long time. And one of my favorite quotes from Nixon is, by God, we're going to hit the marijuana thing, and I want to hit it right square in the puss. I thought
good old casual Nixon. Suck it to me. Did you just sit down and have a beer with that guy with the sleeves rolled up?
It's just a weird thing to say.
Sock it in the puss.
I didn't know that marijuana had anyway,
marijuana thing.
Yeah.
But and then of course, it came out in the 90s when John Ehrlichman, who was one of Nixon's advisors, he came out and said that they basically made up the war on drugs so that people would start associating like hippies with marijuana and black people with harder drugs, and so we could hate, and these were the lefties that were causing so many problems for them, right? And so Ehrlichman said we could arrest their leaders, raid their homes, break up their meetings, and vilify them night after night on the evening news. Did we know we were lying about the drugs? Of course we did. And so Sessions is really kind of still operating as like a vestige of this war on drugs, which I think is
he probably likes it for the same reasons. Jeff Sessions probably hasn't smoked a ton of weed in his day. Like, he probably does have an old-fashioned attitude towards drugs in general.
Eating cookies with the other Keebler elves.
Right. But it wouldn't surprise me to learn that, or to know that the real reason why he likes the war on drugs is for the same reason the Nixon administration liked it. I mean, Jeff Sessions is a guy who has a long history of problematic behavior towards people of color, a long history. He was denied a federal judgeship by his own party because of his problematic statements about race. The guy is, it has an abysmal record when it comes to issues of race. So the idea that he views this as like, this is something that a bunch of liberals and colored folks do, and this war allows us to throw them all in jail, like, wouldn't surprise me in the least bit. Like, it seems totally of a piece with his entire approach to governing.
I'll give him the benefit of the doubt on racism. I have not met him, but I'll just give him the benefit of the doubt. But I don't think you have to have a negative intention there for this to be an absolutely terrible thing that he's doing. I mean, the underlying philosophy of this for the people that truly believe in the drug war is we need to lock people in cages for doing a nonviolent action in their own home, and that's just nuts. That's not, all the individualism that Jeff Sessions does trumpet all the time. This is directly contrary towards. And if we wanted to get the government involved at all, then it should be dealing with it like a medical problem. And to your point, Dan, if you did want to design a program to ruin Black America, the drug war did an amazing job. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if some of the architects were.
Yeah. I wonder if this is going to be, if stopping marijuana, because he's also admitted that he was surprised by how popular legalization is, which is like,
which is also a reminder that
dude.
Jeff Sessions is really, really old.
He's old,
He is
but
so
totally
old.
out of touch.
Yeah.
Like, doesn't, I don't know.
He's like, did you hear what the kids
Open an
these
internet
days
page.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a series of tubes. Right.
No, exactly. So I don't know, because he's like admitting that he's stunned by how popular it is, and that maybe he wouldn't have the kind of public support that he feels like he might need. I'm not sure if he's, striking the sale of marijuana in those states is going to be a priority for him. Plus, he's so busy suppressing voter rights. Like, that takes a lot of time out of your day. So, it's going to be maybe too much on his plate.
Then again, putting people he doesn't like in jail for marijuana possession is a great way to suppress their voter rights.
Yeah, and a
and
good
keeping
thing to
people
do.
in jail that are already there, because there's quite a few people that are hoping for appeals that are going to get denied this.
Which, by the way, one of the things, another thing about the first 100 days is that, one of their quote unquote accomplishments is that they want to continue the use of private prisons, right? There was a moratorium on the use of private prisons or something like that under Obama. And then that was, they're rolling that back. So this is, again, I think a piece of with that of no, let's, for possession, let's throw them in. We've got these, let's not slow down the prison industrial complex.